Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my channel. Today is going to be a very good day. Now, today I'm going to show you how to edit aerial photos. First of all, before I jump into the tutorial, I would like to mention a few things about my editing process. Even though I'm editing this particular photo, but I'll go in depth with each and every tool that I use and what it does so that you can understand exactly what is happening, so that you can use that same tool for different photographs. So this tutorial is not just about this particular photograph. You can take something out of it and use that idea to different photographs. Now let's jump into this edit. In this edit, as you can clearly see that this is an aerial photo, although it's not taken with a drone. I climbed about 150 meters up in Bologna Tower and took the photo from the top. It was very scary, and I'm glad that I've taken this photo and overcome my fear of height. Now, I'm gonna turn this one off. My workflow goes like that. I usually start from the lens aberration controller or lens correction. Fuji does a very good job with their lens correction, so I don't need to go through that. But I always make sure that everything looks nice and no chromatic aberration. Now my first step is done. Step number 2 would be my white balance. So I always check my white balance and make sure that this is somewhere around 5050. White balance, my friend, is your choice. You make the decision because that's your photograph. White balance is totally depends on photograph per photograph. There is no one single rule. I would like to stress that very much because YouTube is full of white balance tutorial. You just need to know what white balance does. There is no rule for using a white balance, honestly. If you're looking landscape, that's different than what is going to be in real estate photograph. So now color, because it's a Fuji, so I'm going to use the Fuji film simulation. I love it. If you don't have any Fuji, if you're watching this tutorial, try to pick something that you prefer. Again, there is no single rule for it. Fuji film simulation, I love it. And I like to use somewhere vivid because it's Bologna. That particular city is, we call it the red city because everything is red from the sky. So I would like to bring that color back. It's like a nice little memory. So I've done that. What else I got left to do? So I'm going to check my histogram. Check this out. Histogram looks just beautiful. Nothing is clipping. This is what an example of perfect histogram. Nice oval shape like a pyramid. Yes, there is a little bit of red, but that's the character of this photograph because the element inside, everything is red anyway, so you can do nothing about it. In fact, that's how it's supposed to be. Now, second thing, I'm going to go to the fine color controller, select one of my red channel and boost the red more even because that's how the city originally is the city of red. Remember the Bologna sauce? Bologna sauce came from Bologna and this is Bologna. And if you know what Bologna sauce is red, right? So obviously you have to represent that character. There is another thing that I would like to boost is the green oval because that's another character of the city. So I would like to boost this quite a bit. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to the saturation and boost this one up. So it looks good. I don't want to overdo anything, right? You have to make sure that you never overdo anything at all. Now I'm done with majority aspect of this photograph. The final thing I gotta do, noise reduction and sharpening. So I'm gonna go to the noise reduction sharpening and keep it everything in default because I trust Fuji soft camera. I trust the Silkypix Developer Studio Pro because they understand Fuji raw file. So I believe them. And then finally I'm going to bring back my demosaic sharpening. If you could see the little mark there, that means that Silkypix Developer is telling me to add about 79 demosaic sharpening for this particular photograph. So I'm gonna do exactly that. Now I'm gonna bring this over to Affinity Photo right now. Now I'm going to shut down Silkypix Developer Studio Pro because I think the job is done at that department. Now I'm going to press Ctrl J, or if you're using Mac, I think it's Command J to create a duplicate layer. I always like to start with high pass filter to add some contrast. So I'm going to go to, not this one, silly me. I'm going to go to the light filter and add high pass filter. You could do the same thing with unsharp mask, but I like high pass filter better. Now I'm going to zoom right in the middle of the tower. I'm assuming that that's right in the middle. Change about High pass filter is a very tricky thing. You got to be very careful. See that hollow? you shouldn't see the hollow. You just stop it right before, like about 0.5 for this particular photograph should do the job. Again, I'm telling you guys, you have to be very careful with the high pass filter because there is no one single rule. You have to play with this particular filter. So I'm going to show you before and after, right? So that you understand and I understand as well. So that's after and that was before. See, you don't really see it, right? You will see the difference when you're actually going to print it or post it online. So I'm going to close that, leave it together with the photograph. Now, there's a couple of things I would like to do. This is where my creative process begins. So my creative process goes like that. I am a big fan of curve, really big fan of curve. I cannot get enough of that. I think it's one of the most powerful tool in any kind of photography. So I'm going to bring back my curve. Now I'm going to play with my color here in the shadow and the highlight. In the shadow area, I would like to add some blue. The reason behind it, because everything on top is red. So I'd like to add some contrast, the color contrast. So I'm gonna pull up my blue just there. As you can see, everything is becoming blue, right? Now, that's not my intention. I just want it to affect in that particular department, the first block, which generally the roads, the corner of the roads and etc. Not mid-tone or highlight. So I'm gonna bring the rest back and make them nice and straight. So can I show you before and after? Let me show you. That's right now and that's the original. You see, you have a nice subtle change in the shadow area. I'm gonna zoom in quite a bit so that I can show you exactly the effect of it. It's quite cool. So there you go, bam. That was before. Now after. You see that? On the road you have this nice beautiful blue tint, but it didn't affect everywhere. Amazing. So I'm gonna bring back. My step number 2 would be working on my highlight and mid-tone. So in the highlight, what I can do, I can go to the red and boost more red in the lighting area. Bologna is the red city. That's what it's known for. So you gotta emphasize the character, but not too much though. You don't wanna make the photograph look extremely bizarre. Doesn't work. So we are looking good. In the highlight, I boost the red. Now I'm gonna play with the mid-tone. Mid-tone, I'm gonna play the green. So I'm gonna add just a subtle green on the upper mid-tone area. Bring the rest back. So let me show you the before and after. One, that is the original photograph. That's after. You see, you have like a really nice, beautiful color contrast. You can separate everything before and after. Now finally, I would like to go to my levels, change my blend mode to luminosity, turn on my histogram, make sure nothing is clipping, and add some black, not too much, as long as I'm going to stop right before it touch. Then add some gamma and add some white. I could actually add some more black, I believe. Now I'm gonna turn this on off. We are looking really good, ladies and gentlemen. Now before I finish this tutorial, the last thing I want to do is to do some correction. I want to get rid of certain things that I don't like in this photograph. It's particularly this little thing. I think it doesn't show anything, it's just useless. So my objective is to get rid of it. In order to get rid of it, what I can do, I can go back to my original background layer, turn on my freehand tool, go like that, and then release it. And I'm going to right click and click rasterize, and then go to edit, say in paint. Let's see what it does, and it's gone. Now problem is not finished because I cropped it and took it off. What happening in, you see that little light right there? Now they have nothing to hang on to. What you can do easily, get rid of it. So I can bring my crop tool, and let's see if I can use my square. Square doesn't work because it doesn't show everything. So I can make it longer. Maybe I could go to unconstrained, make sure they're nice and aligned. I bring back the previous one, just crop right there and click enter. My then final check on my histogram. My histogram looks still good. I'm going to turn on my scope. My scope looks good. The midtone is right in the middle. It's just perfectly exposed. Then I'm going to check my RGB waveform. Looks good. Of course, the red is really strong, obviously, because of the whole city, and we played with the red channel. RGB parade looks good too. Vector scope also looks good. Looks toward red, which is beautiful. Nothing is clipping. Everything is within the zone, which is phenomenal. So I think I can shut down this tutorial. I hope you learned something out of it. I hope this photograph is really, really beautiful even to you. I really do hope. And if you like to support me, please like and subscribe. And there are a link to buy my artwork if you like to go down to description and then buy my artwork. I would like to thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.